Hello everyone, welcome to the Adkup Show. Today we will talk about one interesting topic. Will Pakistan collapse in the future and what will be the exact reason for its collapse? I'll try to answer the consequences of that collapse. So without wasting time, let's unpack this with latest data and historical context. Alright, so let's start this with a big picture. Pakistan has faced numerous challenges since its creation in 1948. Americans have used Pakistan extensively throughout the 20th and early 21st century due to its strategically important location. But things have drastically changed now if you closely follow. In order to answer whether Pakistan will collapse or not, we need to understand Pakistan's economic, political, social, and also environmental factors. And all this has pretty nothing to do with India. Now let's understand the main reasons for countries to collapse. I will keep Pakistan in the center. Number one is external reason, which is of course war, but probably there is no country in the region which is interested in fighting with Pakistan. I know Afghans want a war with Pakistan, but let's be honest, they can't defeat Pakistan and it might lead to another type of crisis. Pakistan is a nuclear state which further complicates the situation. Now the second reason is civil war, which will be a disaster for the region if it happens, because in this case, foreign powers will get involved and it will create a massive instability in the region that will lead to refugee crisis, and Indians in this scenario will never allow their government to open the border due to several socio-political reasons. Iranians and Afghans would prefer doing the same. By the way, Pakistan has a lot of terrorist organizations and the society is heavily radicalized. However, de-radicalization is happening due to hardship. It will take some more time to see the change in social fabric of society. Americans would love to use that crisis against Russia, India, and China. Situation will be like Syria and the regions around it, but this case is also not gonna happen despite Pakistan being a broken society. The reason why it will not happen is because Pakistan's military controls everything, and when I say controls everything, it means everything in the country. No civilian government has ever completed its entire tenure in Pakistan. They were always dissolved due to some reasons. Basically, what I mean is Pakistan's military have direct control over 25% of country's GDP, and indirectly they control and influence more than 60% of the GDP. And they do it in a really incompetent manner, which has kept the region impoverished since it came into existence. So Pakistan's GDP is around $375 billion as of 2024. Now imagine one institution having more than 25% of the share in it and they have complete backing of the United States. Pakistan does have a lot of social tensions. Actually, several cultures and ethnicities were forced to live together and form a country, but now things are different. These ethnicities are constantly clashing with each other because they don't find any benefit of staying together. But Pakistan's military is successfully crushing these frictions and clashes. And as long as they have backing from the United States, they'll continue to crush these uprisings. And by the way, ethnic clashes happens for several reasons. So there's not one demand in the country which further complicates the situation. But at the end of the day, society is poor and weak. And the US would prefer having Pakistan in one piece. So the conclusion is that the war, civil war, or socio-political destability will not lead to collapse and then balkanization of Pakistan. In fact, it's very easy to manage these problems for the Pakistan's military due to its iron hand rule in Pakistan. So now we are left with only one case under which Pakistan can and ultimately will collapse, and that is economic and financial collapse. So if we look at Pakistan's economy, we'll find out that the country isn't a big market despite having 250 million population and young demographics. It has always been an import-dependent country since its creation. So this means Pakistan doesn't consume nor produce anything, and there's a massive resource competition in the region because the region is overpopulated. The economic model which is followed in Pakistan is actually feudal in nature and highly centralized, which gives no space to economic engine to expand and modernize. And these feudal lords come mostly from military and old dynasties. In real term, Pakistan's GDP per capita is not even $1,000. So country doesn't have any industrial base, no education, no skills, and no resources. This makes a perfect recipe for disaster. Now, if we talk about recent years, then we will find out that inflation is out of control and there is no way Pakistan can solve this problem despite reduction in inflation rate, because inflation didn't really come down. It was just a rate which has calmed down. By November 2024, the inflation rate in Pakistan was down to 4.9%, the lowest in 6.5 years, which might give us a glimmer of hope, right? But let's not forget just a year and a half ago, in May 2023, inflation hit a staggering 38%. That's like if you bought a loaf of bread for $1 last month, you would need $1.38 this month. That's crazy figure for a low-income country. It's not just about inflation, the country also has high debt. Pakistan's external debt has been ballooning, growing at staggering 14% per year, while the GDP growth is only around 3%, actually below 3%. In 2022, the total external debt was around $126 billion, and a significant chunk of that, about 30%, is owned to China, and it's not going to get repaid because CPEC has completely crashed. The debt to GDP ratio has been around 70%, which is in the danger zone. Essentially, the country is borrowing more just to pay the interest on previous loans, and the US, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE are helping Pakistan with that. But now, slowly, that help is also reducing. The majority of foreign exchange reserves with Pakistan is actually not theirs. It belongs to those countries. They are doing this just to keep the country afloat. So the question is, can Pakistan solve all these problems? And the honest answer is no. In order to solve these problems, Pakistan needs 360-degree turn. The country will have to bring in reforms which it can't due to its socio-political conditions, and as I said earlier, that country has no good industrial base, no education, and no skills to build any. Pakistan is import dependent, which means it's vulnerable to supply chain disruptions, and we know that we are in the final decade of globalization. Many countries will cease to exist, and Pakistan is one of them. Pakistan's existence is totally dependent on official and unofficial bailouts from its allies. And if we observe carefully, then we will find out that these bailouts are drying up as geopolitical landscape of the world is changing fast. And so as the importance of Pakistan. Pakistan is on brink of collapse. The question is for how long it can stay on that brink. So the real reason for Pakistan's collapse will be economic and financial and not social or political. Now imagine if Pakistan collapses, what will be the consequences of it? Will there be a refugee crisis in the region? Well, one word answer to this question is no. There won't be any refugee crisis because when countries go financially and economically broke, then everything halts in that country. Hyperinflation becomes normal and transportation and logistics stops. Government no longer stays in position to handle the situation because banks have gone bankrupt and there is no money to import or even do business within the country. People can't travel beyond 10 or 20 kilometers of the radius because everybody gets busy with finding basic goods and services. Now, coming back to Pakistan, we are not talking about a country with 10 or 20 million population. We are talking about a country with a population of more than 250 million, which is one of the most impoverished region. If Pakistan goes bankrupt and collapses, it will definitely balkanize. But balkanization is not the end. The region will go through depopulation, and I don't want to say how it will happen. Yes, there will be humanitarian crisis and people will not find any cushion. There will be a cultural change which will come very naturally. So this is the only way how Pakistan can collapse. If you found this video insightful, then don't forget to like and subscribe. Share your thoughts in the comment section. Until next time, keep questioning and keep learning. Peace out.